Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dependent Fanatic channel. That's who I am, the Dependent Fanatic, and welcome back, or in if you are new here. We're talking National Championship game, the preview for the game in Houston, Texas, United States of America, between the two 15-0 teams that are left, 14-0, excuse me, the two undefeated teams left in the FBS. Congratulations to Michigan and Washington. It wasn't easy for either of these teams to make it here. These are two future Big Ten teams, and like I said, the two undefeated teams left in the nation. Should be a great game in Houston for a little while. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to give you my preview. As usual, Michigan's offense versus Washington's defense, Washington's offense versus Michigan's defense, player stats, team stats, and I'll give you my prediction at the end of this video. We're going to start with Michigan's offense. They're getting 36 points per game. 379 yards per game is low. But remember, Michigan has played for the top four of the top defenses in the last 5 games. And Washington doesn't have that type of defense, but I think they can adjust for this game. They can, but will they? Washington's defense is allowing 24 points per game and 404 yards per game. They have played some of the best offenses in the nation, so that could skew their points as well. At quarterback for Michigan, J.J. McCarthy has 73% for 2,851 yards. That's a 9.1 average per completion. He has 22 touchdowns now and 4 interceptions. Don't forget about his legs. He can run the ball. Rushing for Michigan, Corum. Blake the Great Corum has 237 carries for 1,111 yards. That's a 4.7 average. He has 25 rushing touchdowns now and 1 receiving touchdown now after that one versus Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Corum and JJ are possibly the best quarterback running back combination in Michigan history. Probably the best individually. You put them together and they are the best combination in history for Michigan, in my opinion. Donovan Edwards has 113 carries for 393 yards. That's a 3.5 average. He has 3 rushing touchdowns, and he has 249 yards receiving out of the backfield and out of the slot at times. Offensive line. I know Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. Michigan won the previous 2 seasons, but Michigan's line is still great. So they'll have to protect J.J. McCarthy so he can get it to these receiving weapons that Michigan has. Roman Wilson, 45 catches for 735 yards. That's a 16.3 average, and he has 12 touchdowns on the season. Cornelius Johnson has 44 catches for 579 yards. That's a 13.2 average. He has 1 touchdown this season. Samaj Morgan, the freshman, coming on the scene strong, has 21 catches for 207 yards. That's a 9.9 average, and he has 2 touchdowns. Tyler Morris has 13 catches for 197 yards. That's a 15.2 average and 1 touchdown, and that was against Alabama, that 38-yard touchdown. At tight end, Michigan has 2 good ones. Colston Loveland, 44 catches for 585 yards. That's a 13.9 average. He has 4 receiving touchdowns. And A.J. Barner, 22 catches for 249 yards, 11.3 average, and he has 1 touchdown. This offense can do it all, and they showed a multiple formations, multiple looks out of those formations during the Alabama game. Expect more of that against this Washington defense, unless Michigan can just line up and run down Washington's throat. Texas was doing that till they went away from it. Michigan will not go away from the run. So let's talk about Washington's defense here. There are some good players. Cornerback Dominique Hampton has 98 tackles, which leads the team, but he also has 6 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. And then at linebacker, Olafosio has 90 tackles and 3 sacks along with an interception. And also linebacker Carson Bruner has 80 tackles and an interception. And linebacker Tuputala has 64 tackles and an interception. So Washington's defense has the parts. They are pretty good in the middle level of the defense. And, of course, the secondary has Michelle Powell to go with Dominique Hampton, who has 38 tackles, 6 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, by the way. And cornerback Jabbar Muhammad has 44 tackles, 2 sacks, 13 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Safeties are rarely needed for this team, which is awesome for them. Let's talk about their defensive line, though. It's kind of a weakness. As I stated before, people have been able to run the ball. Defensive end, Braylon Trice has 44 tackles and 7 sacks. And defensive end, Zion Tupola Fetui has 3.5 sacks and 29 tackles. That's the sack production pretty much for Washington. Now let's talk about Washington's offense, which is electric. All right. 38 points per game, 474 yards per game. They've played defenses like Utah and Oregon State, which are not, they're pretty good, average, above average defenses, but nothing like Michigan's, which is allowing 10 points per game and 245 yards per game, which are both best in the nation now at this moment in time. Quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. Like I said, he is behind the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line and has been amazing. 67% on 500 attempts, over 500 attempts so far for him this season. 4,648 yards passing. That's a 9.2 average. He has 35 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That number is a little bit high, but when you pass the ball that much, it's bound to happen. At running back, Dylan Johnson. Hopefully he is healthy for Washington because he has 222 carries for 1,162 yards. That's a 5.2 average, and he has 16 touchdowns. He has had some plays out of the backfield as well with 166 receiving yards. The receiving core for this team is what is amazing. It reminds me of Ohio State in 21 and in 22 with Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Olave and Ibuka and all of them great wide receivers. Well, Rome Odunze leads the way for Washington. He has 87 catches for 1,553 yards, 17.9 average, and he has 13 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jalen Polk has 65 catches for 1,122 yards now, 17.3 average, and 9 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jalen McMillan has 39 catches for 526 yards, 13.5 average, and he has 4 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jeremy Bernard has 34 catches for 419 yards. That's a 12.3 average and 2 touchdowns. And they do have a pretty good tight end in Jack Westover. 41 catches for 391 yards. That's a 9.5 average and 4 touchdowns. Michigan's defense is what we're going to be talking about now, which is what this offense is going to have to go up against. Washington has not seen a secondary like Michigan's yet. Michigan's defense is built to beat teams with these potent, high-flying wide receivers. So it'll be interesting to see. In the secondary, Michigan has cornerback Mike Sainristil, 36 tackles, 2 sacks, 6 pass breakups, 5 interceptions, 2 of which went for touchdowns. Cornerback Will Johnson has 23 tackles, 4 PBUs, and 3 interceptions, and 1 of his went for a touchdown. Those 2 guys will have a tall task in locking down 2 of those wide receivers, probably Odunze and Polk. At safety, 2 of the best in the nation as well. Rod Moore, 34 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions, and Makari Page has 38 tackles. There's more than just that in this secondary. Michigan has so many 3 and outs that our top tacklers have 89, 61, and 44 tackles in order. And they are all linebackers. That's right, Junior Colson leads the team with 89 tackles, and he has 2 pass breakups. Hopefully he can use his hands in this game. They were clubbed up pretty much the last half of the season. Michael Barrett has 61 tackles and 3 sacks, and Ernest Hausman has 44 tackles. But the defensive line might be the best defensive unit for Michigan. 6 sacks versus a mobile quarterback in the Rose Bowl on Jalen Milroe against Alabama. At defensive line, Jalen Harrell has 30 tackles and 6.5 sacks. Josiah Stewart has 33 tackles and 5.5 sacks. Derek Moore has 34 tackles and 5 sacks. Braden McGregor has 26 tackles and 4.5 sacks. And inside, if you look to run up the middle, it's not going to happen. Mason Graham, Chris Jenkins, and Kenneth Grant are all combined to say no go. No go. They also have 8 sacks between the 3 of them in the middle. So, I think Michigan will beat up Washington's defense. First and foremost, they will run the ball control, and they will eat the clock and keep the great opposing offense off the field as long as they possibly can, as they have these drives and beat the defensive line down for Washington. Speaking of Michigan's defense, I think they will get after Penix for sacks and interceptions in this game. Man, Michigan will win this game, okay? One way or another, ground and pound, or is it going to be defense? Is it JJ and his weapons? Because they have shown to be viable. And Michigan's special teams cannot get any worse than they were versus Alabama. Give me Michigan to win this game 38-24. That's right, that's a 14-point difference in this game. The line was 4.5 in Michigan's favor last I saw. I would bet Michigan and lay the points. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. And remember to like the video, share with other people, subscribe if you have not to the Defend It Fanatic channel for future Michigan content for the off season, including basketball and hockey, which will be coming up. And hopefully a congratulatory video for the Michigan Wolverines. Whoever wins this national title, I will come on and congratulate the winner. So there you have it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And remember out there to just have a great day. Thank you.